with Zooms lately is I thought, oh man, we're just going to use Zoom to survive. When in fact, I was on a Zoom yesterday. It was actually a 11 to 6:30 Zoom. It was a very long retreat style meeting. And I'll be honest, I wasn't dreading it. I just had a low expectation for the energy and the involvement. And my aha for the end of that day is that Zooms actually created a level of intimacy that I probably wouldn't have had if I were in the same room with that many people. And there is one-on-one chat allowed. And I was so excited to hear that. I don't ever want Zoom to fully replace the energy of people in the room, yet I don't see it as such a Band-Aid anymore. It's just another way of doing business. It's a tool in the box. So thank goodness for technology. I'm super excited about that. And as I start to share my screen here, the other thing that I want to tell you guys is just a little nugget. This goes for every single one of you, no matter how long you've been in the business. This goes for me too, is that real estate agents, we tend to kind of be perfectionists by nature. We love to shine it up, look good, and be right all the time. And what the perception can look like is that every realtor has it together. Every team owner has got it figured out, or that agent down the hall is cranking. When the reality is, this is a business, and I think most businesses in life in general is see how many times you can fail, have a 5-minute funeral, learn from it, and go on. We want to straighten your path and give you a predictable path, but no one's going to ever promise that it's going to be easy or that it will be rocky. It gets messy. It gets confusing all the time. I make mistakes on a daily basis, but I've got to say, fail forward, fail fast, and just keep going. So give yourselves a ton of grace, like a lot of it, and give other people grace too, even when it's hard, because it's a people business. And it's an entrepreneurial business, which is a beautiful, perfect thing. But there's a lot of challenge in that, good challenges. But just have that mindset, as especially you guys are building new businesses, as you guys are adopting new teams and new team structures, or coming over from a different business. Stay open-minded and stay in grace with yourself and others, and that will take you so far. And you will be smiling at the end of the day a lot more often than not. All right, so today we're going to talk about your database, which is also commonly referred to as your data bank. The best way to start the foundation, the pure foundation of your business, is that database. People will do business with you. They will buy and sell houses and find investment properties with the people that they know and trust first. Honest to goodness, it is my belief that they don't always care about how much you know, but they want to know that you care. Which is why the common frustration of big experienced teams with the track record and the shiny listing presentation and all the great, wonderful things still lose out to the best friend at church. I'm not going to say that's wrong or right. You're going to see it happen over and over again. But when that happens, it's because people do business with people that they know and trust and know that are going to take care of them. Buying a house and selling a house are probably the biggest decisions financially that people will make. And they want to know that someone is caring about that. So keep that in mind as you build your database. Let's see here. How do I advance this? Here we go. All right, so let's talk about your database and what successful agents do every single day. When you're a realtor, you want to end your workday being able to answer in a very good way, what did I do to grow my business today? Now, the definition of growing your business may not be what you think about. So I want you to change your perspective a little bit. Yeah, you grow the bank account of your business when you have a closing, and that's wonderful. That's the end game. We have to get paid. It's our business. It's our livelihood. But that's not growing necessarily. If you turn in the paycheck and you go celebrate, which is appropriate, but you stop there, you have missed the forest for the trees in a very big way. We're going to learn about the database as it relates to how you can be in relationship with the people who are already trust you, and then grow your sphere and your database so that you have more people who know and trust you. So your job to grow your business is over here in the left-hand column. Ways to grow your business includes lead generating for buyers and sellers. Now I'm going to hang out on this number one for a minute. This is obviously the most important way to grow your business. It is what you do. You are a lead generator whose product is real estate. Okay? So you're a lead generator whose product is real estate. And if you can keep lead generation at the very top of your priority, the first domino you knock down, the first frog that you eat, the biggest priority in your business, you are already winning hand over fist. And when you're in a place of lead generation for your business, you are able to step out of the place of praying and hoping for your next transaction. It's a very stressful way to need to rely on real estate for income when you just feel like you're going to cross your fingers. You're going to hope, well, I don't like the market today, so I hope I'm going to have more inventory next week or next month. That's not the best way that you would want to do business. So you want to lead generate. Now, there's a lot of different ways to lead generate. And if anybody tells you that there's one perfect way, I want you to respectfully and gracefully disagree. Okay? Lead generation in the Keller Williams model, as well as the way that I approach it with my team, is having conversations with people. Not a one-way conversation, not a mass text, not just a Facebook post, but when you are entering in dialogue, a meaningful back and forth dialogue with somebody, that's when you've got yourself a lead. Okay? Leads are not defined. They're commonly defined incorrectly by getting a social media post out and having 100 people come and kick the tire. That's fantastic when you do that. That's part of the business. That's got to happen. But that's not true lead generation until you're reaching back out to those people and you're getting conversations going. Okay? And those conversations are questions. Don't let those conversations be selling. Okay? Does someone have a question? When you're in conversation with lead generation, with your database, you always want to be coming from a place of curiosity. In other words, it's not, hey, this is Elissa with the Withrow Group at Keller Williams Louisville East, and my team is ranked so-and-so, and my team sells this, and my team has this listing presentation, and my team this and that. People, that's not what people need. What people need to hear in your database when you're communicating and building relationships is, hey, how are you? How's your family? How are the kids? How are you in 2020? What do you need? How's your home? Have you refinanced? Do you need a good lender? I've got a list of painters and electricians. Can I help you? You know, come from a place of helping. And then when they start to get into conversation with you and they start to say, hey, my family needs to sell. We got a job in Alabama. That's when you start looking and you start asking your database. You want to find motivation. You're going to use your database, your list of people, to pick out the motivated people who need your expertise in the real estate industry. Okay? And a lot of you are saying, I'm brand new. I don't have that expertise yet. Yes, you do. You have your license and you're at a brokerage right now that if you don't know the answer, you will find somebody that will help you with it. So you're the expert right now and you're just going to get better. Okay. So you're growing your business, you're lead generating. So when I say you're going to lead generate within your database, you want to comprise a database that allows you to have two-way meaningful conversations with people so that you stay in relationship with them. Okay. And that can be lots of different modes of communication. It can be calling on the phone. It can be text communication. It can be social media communication. This week, my team has a community or a Sphere event. It's a drive-in movie, by the way. That's going to be a great touch to the database. That's a great way for us to communicate safely in this land of COVID. You know, that we can get together and I can figure out who can I help? Who needs my expertise? How can I be of service to others? Okay. The other part of ways that you grow your business is you're going to make listing presentations and get listings. I mean, you're going to be sitting at the dining room table. You're going to be sitting at the kitchen table. You're going to be in the houses. I'm so happy that we have the ability to have offices either at the office or at home. But if you are in that chair 8 hours a day, 5 days a week or more, that's not growing your business. You've got to get out there and be in front of people. Same thing with number 3 is to make buyer presentations and get the buyer listings, meaning represent a buyer on the sale of a home. And a buyer presentation is what a lot of us also call a buyer consult, when we're educating our people on what it looks like to purchase a house in today's market. What the conditions are. How do I prepare you to be a buyer? How do I prepare you to make the decision in the speed at which you need to make it? Having those conversations, that's growing your business. And then of course, previewing real estate. Now, when you're running your business, when you're getting real busy and it's fun and the adrenaline's going, you're marketing your seller listings, you're showing the houses, you're negotiating the contracts, you are working through the contract to close process, you're going through the transaction. Number 5, vendor management means you're talking with title, you're talking with the home inspectors, you're dealing with all the ancillary services, all the people that help us be amazing people for our clients. You're setting goals, you're staying compliant with all your documentation, you're keeping our staff super happy, everything is in line and very good. You're attending training and coaching, which I think we could slide over to the left-hand side if I'm being honest. And you're managing money. So the problem that busy agents get into is they get a few listings under contract and they stay on the right side of the column because, well, we only have so much time in the day, right? And I've got to service my list. I've got to service my clients. If I don't service my clients, I don't have a business to work on. When in fact, agents who get ahead and stay in the business and decrease the slopes and valleys of their seasonality are the agents who figured out how to continue to prioritize that lead generation piece. And they continue to be able to prioritize their database. It's the most important tool. All right, so again, let's talk more about a database in terms of what it is. Well, technically, it's a list of people, first name, last name, phone number, email, physical address, all of the information that you can collect on them. If you're really doing it well, you're gonna know their birthday, their wedding anniversary, if they have one, their purchase anniversary, is there a pet, their children, all the little difference. The more you can know about your people, the more you can be in relationship with them. And again, when you're in relationship with people and they know that you care, you're in their life, well, when the time comes, they're going to call you. Or better yet, when they're in conversation at the cocktail party and their friend says, hey, I need to buy or sell, they say, hey, great, I've got a great person for you. Elissa with the Withrow group is fantastic. Her team is great. Why don't you call her? So you're building your database of people to create an opportunity for conversations for their buy and sell needs, but you're also creating a list of people who are going to become advocates for you because you can't be in front of everybody all the time. So you're creating a database of people who know how to tell the world that you are in real estate when they're in their spheres of people. Does that make sense? So it's a living record. And I say living because living means that it's evolving, it's moving, it's dynamic. So agents who spend time on their database on a daily or regular basis, honestly, it's daily for a lot of us, they end up getting it right. In other words, people move, people change addresses, people get married, people get divorced, and updating that information is really, really important. I challenge every one of you to have a database of no less than 200 contacts to start your career. Okay, that sounds like a lot at first. And even if you're from a different city you're coming in, I want you to stretch your thinking to, if you get your hair done, any contractor that's come in your house, any business person that you've worked with, businesses that you've worked with just in your life, obviously friends, family, church, school, children's friends' parents, on down the line. And a lot of people say, well, I'm from a different city or even a different country. Why would I put any of those people in my database? Super fair question, but those people are also going to buy and sell, and they may just call you as a resource, which is a great opportunity, because when my friend in Nevada calls me and they need to buy or sell, I say, you know what? I am affiliated with an international brokerage called Keller Williams, and we're all kind of cut from the same cloth, and we're trained at a high level, and our standard is a cut above. Do you want me to provide a name of a great agent for you in your town? And usually they say yes. And when they do, you can call their team leader in that office in that town and get a referral if you don't know them personally, or you can go on command in the referral network and find someone quite easily that way as well. And the cool part is, if you do it right, you can get a referral on that. And I would encourage you to do so. And yes, Keller Williams is international. So we're in a lot of different countries. There's 830 brokerages right now, and it's growing all the time. So I want you to keep the scope of your database really, really big. And when you start with those 200 contacts to start your business, or if you're just cleaning up your business, you've been in it for a while and you just never sat down and put pen to paper, find 200. And then right after you do that, then set a goal for yourself that by the time you get to Friday afternoon, that you will have added X number of contacts to the database. And when I say contacts, that needs to be ways that you can get in touch with them. So it's first name, last name, email, phone number, and mailing address. So, I've had goals before where I'll say I'm going to add 5 contacts per week to my database, which is a pretty attainable goal. And let's say I work 48 weeks out of the year. Well, guess what? By the time that I get to the end of the year, basic math, and I have to use a calculator, that's 240 contacts that I've added to my database. And I think that we could all agree that that's pretty powerful to be able to build that on, especially if our database is our data bank. So I want everybody to write down on your paper a goal that you have for yourself as to how many contacts, complete contacts, you would like to add to your database every week. All right. Now, I want you to hear that the database is more than a list, okay? It's more than just a fancy grouping of people's contact information, because if you house it there and stop there, then you've lost the game. But when you use it as a nurture strategy, you're going to be able to really cash in on it. There's a couple different ratios out there that Gary Keller would say that 1 in 12 and sometimes 2 in 12 if people within your database, contacts within your database, should result in one piece of business if you're doing it right. If you're touching your database with the recommendation of number, which it's a high number, and we're going to talk about that later. But when you are using that database and reaching out and nurturing, you're developing relationships that will end up growing your business. Through that, when you are staying consistent with that, you're going to have more of a predictable flow of business. You're talking with people, you're in conversation with people, so that you knew, because you kept good notes on your database, that Tom Smith over on Sunny Lane, when you called him last year, he said, yeah, I would buy and sell. I've got a lot of projects to do. I'm not quite sure, what that looks like. Well, you can follow up with him and say, hey, how are those projects going? You ready to sell? It's a fantastic market because or hey, do you need somebody? Let me be a resource. I have a fantastic trim guy. Okay. So it just gives you an opportunity to talk to people. It improves your level of service, and it does strengthen relationships. And the other thing too that I want to talk about, because technology in Keller Williams is becoming woven at a higher frequency more and more and more into every aspect of our business. Okay. You're going to, if you're new, you're going to hear command every single day, and you should. And technology is fantastic. Technology for Keller Williams is never and never will be intended to replace you as an agent. And I'll say that again. Gary Keller's goal is never to get such an amazing technology platform that it will ever replace you as an agent. It's also never supposed to replace your relationship, because nobody's ever going to have a relationship with a artificial intelligence computer machine. That's never going to happen, ever. Thank the Lord. That'll never happen. Okay. Gary Keller is building technology, and Keller Williams has a robust and exponentially growing technological platform to be a leverage piece to your database. Meaning, the technology that Command offers lets you be in more organization to allow more touches, more purposeful communication, and again, organization so that you can stay in better relationship with your people. It's a leverage piece. It is not a replacement, and it never will be. So I hope that I've made that clear. So we've talked a lot about the purpose of a database and what makes that database valuable. When you're organized with the people that you are doing life with or have done life with in some capacity, you have a data bank. You have people to start working with, and then you feed it all the time with that goal of contacts that you decided that you're going to have input at the end of every week. You're feeding it and you're growing it. I think we can all agree, going over to number 3, that real estate is not the only industry that uses a database, especially when it comes to prospecting and marketing. Now, lead generation is different from marketing. Okay, so start to silo that off in your head as you guys build your real estate businesses. Lead generation is the business of talking to people, meeting people, being in relationship. It's the two-way, it's the relationship. When you're marketing, which is very important, I'm a huge believer in marketing, it's brand awareness, it's top of mind, it's being in front of people in a large mass. It's, on the biggest scale, it's the billboard. It's social media presence. It's Google, your rank in Google, your SEO, and there's just so many different ways to market. It's mailing. My team still mails into the mailboxes. Marketing is getting out there. So obviously industries use it all the time, but they do it out of a database because a database gives you purpose. Do you think that I'm going to get a higher rate of return of marching over to a random school that happens to be in a price point that I like, and putting up, sending out flyers or sending a flyer home in all the backpacks with all the kids to the parents because I've, sponsored something? That's great. I don't mean to discount that, but do you think that is more meaningful than sending a mailer to your specific database with a purpose? Perhaps here's the state of the market. There's more purpose. You're talking to people who know you. You're giving an item of value. It's not such a, it's not just such a throw out there. I didn't pull a bunch of addresses with people that I have no relationship with. Start with a relationship first. Just like I don't love a cold call, I like a warm call. If I'm going to market and get out in front of people, I want it to have a reason. The really cool thing that Command is also doing with our social media ads is it's smart. It's really smart. So that first it puts a post out, generates leads, and then it can kind of funnel those leads. And technology has a greater understanding of how to stay in front of certain people who have engaged and start to appear as buyers and sellers. Because again, I tell my team, hey, these internet leads are fantastic. They're great, but they have to earn their way onto your database. Okay. I do not call my internet lead bank, which is crazy, just silly long. That's not my database. That's a bank of collection of people. They earn their way into our team's database when we've had conversation with them and we know kind of where they're at. Okay. They may not need to buy and sell real estate today, but we've had a conversation. We've said, hey, what you need, what you like, how's your family, where you live, all those things. All right, so let's talk about levels of a database because there's good, better, and best for everything. Okay, and I want you to think really big on this because the bigger you think right now, it's really going to serve you in the future. Okay, so there's what I would call an essential database, and there's an effective level database, And then there's also an exceptional level database. And I like to be exceptional. So, okay, so if they're essential, this is where we start. We all have to start someplace. It's going to have the name, like I said, the contact information. Let me pause on that. If you are at an open house and you've got someone that comes through the door and you've got your open house booklet out and you ask them to fill out the information, they'll put their name a lot of times, but they might put an email or they might put a phone number. It'll be an incomplete contact at that point. Well, because we have access to the PVA, a lot of times when I'm standing in that open house, I'll ask them a couple questions that are pretty general. And I'll say things like, what brings you to the open house today? Oh, we're curious. Oh, great. What part of town are you from? Well, we're from the Crestwood area. Okay, fantastic. And kind of going on. But what I did was very purposeful in that. I was general and not intrusive. I know their name and I know that they're from the Crestwood area. So when I go home on Sunday evening or Monday morning after an open house, I get to pull that PVA up and I can usually figure out that the Smith family who described this and that's probably their house. And I can use the PVA to make my contact complete. Because if you're a mailer based agent, that's a great thing to be. And if nothing else, you want to send them handwritten note. And you would love to be able to mail it to their home address saying, thank you so much for visiting the open house. I would love to answer additional property questions for you on this or any other home. How can I be of service to you? So use your resources to complete contact information as you're able. Also, they're calling the essential level as a past business and past contact record and any other communication that they're putting forth. Now, when you want to be effective, if you want an effective database, agents will ask permission. Hey, is it okay if I give you a call back? If I know you're not ready to buy or sell now, but could I give you a call in 3 or 4 months once the market shifted a little bit and see if you have any questions at that time? Well, sure, of course. You're more effective, as we mentioned earlier, when you collect personal information, insights about their life, what they prefer. I mean, literally, if you've got a foodie or a travel junkie or Disney lover, those things matter to people. And also having Facebook lets us kind of be in people's lives as well. So there's nothing intrusive or wrong to try it. Work really hard to get to know those people and it will be so special. I'm telling you, when you do get in business with someone and you've really gotten to know them and they weren't your best friend to start, it was truly generated through your business once you started, and you're able to give them a closing gift that's, meaningful because something that you knew about them, that speaks volumes. And I know that's the agent that I want to be. And it's going above and beyond. It's being in relationship with people. So it's purposeful and consistent. When you have an exceptional database, there's automation to it. And there's custom communication built around triggers. What in the world does that mean? Okay. And this is what it means. When you have a platform like Command, for example, you have your list of people. You can take notes on people in terms of who they are, what they like, when you talked, what the conversation looked like, what follow-up questions you had. But you can also tag your people. So when you enter a contact, you can tag based on, here's tags that we use. And this is why you want to slow down and take the time to do this, because it takes time, and I'd be lying if I told you it didn't. Tag the zip code that they live in. So we do tons of business in Oldham County. So I'll do 40031. The reason I tag the zip code and I tag the neighborhood and specifically where they are living geographically is because when I have a buyer need who isn't finding what they need on the MLS and I can't find anything otherwise and having a hard time in the slim market, well, I can filter by tag and send out correspondence to everybody in my database who lives in 40031 saying, guys, I've got a buyer who's looking for a 3-bedroom home with a 2-car garage on half an acre or more for this price point. If this looks like your house and you're considering selling, give my team a call, please. And that's automated. I didn't have to go back and guess and remember, because when you're building your database 200 at a time, 200 and then 5 or 10 on top of that regularly, you're not going to have time to sift. You can't do that. That's not the way you should spend your time. You're going to be doing other things. But when you're automated, you can do things like that. When you're automated, you can do things in command called smart plans. And smart plans goes a step beyond just blasting your entire database with one similar message. People can read through that. I should say they can see through that. But when you have a tag for buyer or seller or investor, and you define how they'll likely do business with you, when you are sending out, or another great tag is, you'd have to condense it, but basically would sell if they could find the right house, or unmotivated or low motivation seller. A great example would be to talk to a lot of low motivation sellers, because a lot of people would love to sell if you brought them the buyer. It's kind of an easy path, that's fine, or whatever, or they're lacking urgency, and you've got to find the urgency. A great smart plan would be, here's the top 5 reasons why selling now is crazy awesome. Okay. And you can list out things in the market. You list while it's slim in the market, the urgency that drives the buyers, the prevalence of multiple offers, the low interest rates that it makes money cheap and makes buyers want to buy it. Talking specifically to different audiences within your database will make it work at an exceptional level, and your creativity is your limitation. I guarantee you're more creative than me even in thinking that. But that's what's so cool. It's just, it's fun and it's purposeful. And when you go to bed at the end of the night and you say, what did I do to grow my business today? It's going to feel a lot better to say, hey, I had a really purposeful smart plan today that resulted in people engaging with me, versus I checked a box of a smear of a mass text to people, or a Facebook post that was sort of general that I didn't talk back to anybody. You're going to feel a whole lot better when you have purpose and intentionality with the way you interact with your database. So let's talk about, well, first of all, let me pause. What questions do you guys have, or ahas? What's your brain doing right now? I'll tell you something, that if you're sitting there and you say, I haven't even written the first person down anywhere, it's okay. Okay. I've had my real estate license for 6 years, which is a long, short time. And when I sat at the bottom of the hill thinking, I want to build a business, and I want it to be organized, and I want it to be purposeful and meaningful, quite literally the first place was the database. I had a call yesterday with someone that said, I just got laid off. I need to replace my family's income, and I need to do it quick, and I'm going to do it through real estate. Elissa, help me out. What can I do now? I said, well, first you need to go to real estate school. But right now, even before you get through real estate school, start compiling your database. It is the most important thing. So, in terms of the other thing that the database does for you, this is number one, it's the why. People buy things and buy into things, such as, Elissa, you're telling me to use this database. This is a ton of work. Really? Yeah, I'm going to tell you why. And this is why. It keeps you from waking up in the morning saying, I love real estate and I love to work hard. What am I going to do today? What does that look like? And then you spend 30 minutes thinking about it, and then another 30 minutes planning it. And then, then you're hungry, so you're going to get a snack. And then somebody called, and then, your mom called. You got to pick that up. And you know what? Life starts to happen, and your day gets by, and then shoot, it's lunchtime. Well, okay. And you go down the line. Okay. When you have a database that functions. It sets up tasks and plans for you. So that, here's a great example. When you add a contact, the contact from the open house who you met and you were able to upload their entire contact into your database, and it's Monday morning and you're ready to lead generate and follow up, you're also going to load that contact into command, and you're going to put them on a campaign that says, put them on the quarterly call schedule. Okay, what that means is in command, you're going to get a little task when you wake up that day, 1 quarter later, saying, hey, call that person from your open house, check in on them. Okay, if you haven't already converted them by then, you're going to get a reminder. You're going to get a reminder in your database that if when you set it up correctly, of things to do, ways to interact with your people, so you're not in the today trap. Okay, it's exhausting to have to figure out or think of what you want to do today to grow your business. It gives you a plan and it gives you a system to do it, which is awesome. And the other thing, which is huge, and light a firework behind this, I've kind of mentioned it, but I'm going to mention it again. The larger your database, the bigger your business. The larger your database, the bigger your business. It's a data bank. So when we talk about ROI, which stands for return on investment, you're going to have a larger and more, you're going to have a larger ROI the larger the database, and you're going to have a more predictable ROI, income you can plan on when you're interacting and feeding and growing that database. If real estate could be math, if there's nothing closer to the real estate crystal ball for can I do this? Can I quit my job and go work on commission only? I mean, holy cow, that's terrifying. Well, it's a lot less terrifying when you start at the top and work backwards, and that starts with a database. And I'm going to take it one bit further here. If you have not read the MREA, which is the Millionaire Real Estate, why am I blanking on this? The Millionaire Real Estate book, which is the red book by Gary Keller. Even if you're not a team owner, okay? A lot of people say, well, I don't need to read this. I'm not there yet. I'm not a millionaire real estate agent. I'm not going to be one next year. No, it's not for me. No, it's absolutely for you, because that's just a catchy title, by the way. Lots of people, you're going to pick up a book that says millionaire before you're going to pick it up $100,000. $100,000 is awesome, by the way. Read the book, because here's what it'll say when you get in there. It's going to give you a model that says Tracy or Bobby or Tammy, if you need to make X dollars, okay, I need to make $100,000 for my family to be chugging along. I need to make that. Well, you get to plug that up at the top, okay? And that's $100,000 after taxes. I got to bring that home to make my life work here for my family or for myself or for my goals or whatever that is. And as you work down, here's how your database relates to that. Gary Keller will tell you in that book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, that in order to do that, you need to be on this many appointments. In order to get this many appointments, you need to have this many conversations, calls, he might say, but two-way conversations. In order to get this many conversations, you need to have this many people in your database. So you can imagine from the number to go from up here to how many people need to be in your database, this number gets really big, really fast, because real estate is still a game of numbers. So you've got to balance that with the fact that you want this big, robust database that you can also maintain some semblance of relationship in for it to be meaningful to get back up to the top. I mean, if you're on a team, have your team owner work in how your team is set up to also make those mathematical equations work. And the cool thing about that is because before real estate, I was a physical therapist, and I loved my job. I loved taking care of people. Spent 10 years, I got a doctoral degree. I mean, I poured into that. I did it. I did all the things for that. And for different reasons, I wanted to work for myself. I'm an entrepreneur. But to leave healthcare benefits, a predictable schedule, oh, overtime if I wanted it, all those great things that were safe in that moment. For me to say, Elissa, you're gonna have to quit that job. Oh yeah, you spent 10 years in college for it. This is still a good decision, Elissa. It's still a good decision. You know what? That felt scary to me at the time. It was terrifying. And if you don't know now, I hope you get to know me enough that I don't do anything without a plan. And I don't do anything on just a wish and a prayer. I pray for a lot of things, and that's a huge part of me, but I plan. I'm not negligent. I need to see the path, and I will work my hardest on that path, but I need to know what that path looks like. And the way that I was able to have the courage and belief that real estate would work for me is when I opened that MREA up and I saw that work backwards plan on how many people I needed to have in my database to give me the actions and conversations available to have appointments and then closings and then money for my family. It's all a plan. It's not a wish. It's not a risk. It's not guesswork when you put the time in, and that starts with the database. Does anybody have any questions about that?
I would like to add something, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Yes, I remember when we were in the coaching program last year, and I was trying to figure out my numbers for, my big number to plug in to find out how many appointments I needed to go in and everything. And I found it so arbitrary, like to put 100,000. Like I was like, why that number? Why not 50 or why not 250 or And then we did an exercise where we said, okay, what's your big why? Why are you doing this? And what's the life you want to fund with your family? So in order to fund that life, how much money does your family need? And then how much money does Juan, my husband, bring to the family? So how much more money do you need? And it came from reality. It was not at all an arbitrary number. So I ended up putting a number there that was absolutely realistic, and it all made sense to me. Mm-hmm. And then I found like a real motivation to get to those appointments. It wasn't like just because I felt like it and I wanted to go on appointments. It was because I really needed to in order to accomplish those goals that we had set for the family, Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to add that.
Oh, I love it. And is that me and you talking? Who?
This is Lucy, sorry.
Is it who? I'm sorry?
Lucy.
Oh, Lucy. Okay, sorry. I can't see all you guys. Thank you, Lucy, for saying that. And you said a lot of powerful things just now. And this completely relates to the database conversation in so many ways. The first point that I want to make with that is when you set your goal, which was her number at the top, it was the financial goal. Don't put 100,000 because it feels good or because, well, I guess that, someone else did it or my team owner told me that would be great or I've just kind of had that. No, I want you to set a goal that's your goal. Your goal. And there's nothing that's too big, okay? Real estate is one of the few industries that when you put it in, you're probably going to get it out. I mean, really, it's an in and out, input output kind of thing. And this chunks it down. This is proof of that. And you get real with yourself on what goal you want. And this is why. If you want to be a $50,000 agent, which is fantastic, by the way, you work on the models and you work backwards from the path that's laid out for you, then you're going to do $50,000 actions every day. And you're going to have a $50,000 database, which is great if that's your goal. But the cool thing is that if you are going to be 150,000 for your goal, and then Lucy, to bring that back in as well, if you tie a big why to that, what would $150,000 do for my family? I've got 3 boys. That's another conversation. I could tell you what I would do with that for their security or my grandmother or my parents. That's another conversation. But when I attach a why to that, then I can get up every day and do the hard work that are the actions of a $150,000 realtor, because it's simple, but it's not easy. It's it requires a lot of consistency. And you're going to be tired and you're going to feel down on some days, and motivation might be hard on other days, but on those low motivation days, when you know that if I get through the tasks that I assign myself and I'm working my database and I'm doing the things to grow my business, those are the people that get the goal that they want. What is it? In order to be extraordinary, it takes people doing ordinary things at a very consistent level. And I tell my team all the time that successful people, I've learned over and over and over again, and specifically successful real estate agents. Well, no, successful anybody. I mean, let's liken it to an Ironman. I'm an endurance athlete. I was a lot more of an endurance athlete before my 3 kids, but at least I'm hanging on to my marathon running right now. But a marathon runner can do a marathon not because there's some amazing athlete who, you know, is built the right way and has different muscles and different electrolyte handling. Like, no, you run a marathon. And I say this because I train novice runners frequently, because you showed up and you ran 1 mile, and then you followed your training plan through the week. And then on Saturday, you ran 2 miles, and then you followed your training plan through the week. And then the next Saturday you ran 3 miles and you built on it. And guess what? None of that is extraordinary. But what is extraordinary is when you get to the end and you look back and you said, holy cow, I just ran for 4 hours and I covered 26.2. I never thought I could do it. I couldn't even make the basketball team in high school. And the reason that you did it was because you showed up and you just chipped away at it. And you did the mundane things over and over and over again to get a really great outcome. That's not to say real estate's not fun. Real estate's a blast. I love working with people, but the tasks that are in the everyday are sometimes not as glamorous. I mean, I'll say it, it's fair, but man, it's worth it. Man, I love it. It's cool. And it is such an opportunity for business and career. It's just awesome. So in summary, I'm not following my slides very well. Without a database, your business is built only for today. And I don't want you to be today people. You're so much better than that. And these next couple slides go backwards with the fact that your database it's a game of numbers, okay? So when you're staying top of mind with 100 people, those 100 people are not all going to be doing business to buy and sell property today. That's a ridiculous thought. Okay. Your goal is not to figure out who needs to buy and sell of your 100 people and as many as you can. Your goal is to be an advocate for them, but then realistically to filter through to the smaller people, the smaller list of people who do need to buy and sell. Okay. And so the point that is made by this slide, let me be more clear, is that your database lets you stay top of mind with people, okay? Let's come out of real estate. I want you to think about toothpaste, but not too long, just think quickly. And if you thought of brands of toothpaste, your brain is gonna think of 2, maybe 3 really, really fast, like almost automatically. I didn't have to like picture a commercial, I just know Crest and Colgate, boom, I didn't have to think about it, okay? Or when you think about, I mean, it goes with anything at all. You have brand awareness for about 2 or 3 specific brands within an industry at one time. Let's liken it a little bit more. I want you to name in your head 2 home insurance agencies. Let's make it harder. That's more in our business. That's a lot harder than toothpaste. You know where my brain goes? I start thinking of people whose billboard I drive past on the park bench every day when I turn right at Starbucks. Okay. You know, those types of things. So you need to be top of mind for your database. And you can never assume that because they know you, that they also know that you're in real estate, because it'll happen. It has happened to me. It's happened to everybody. You get a call from your friend and, you know, you went to the party or you're lead generating and they're like, hey, you are in real estate. Oh, congratulations. I just went under contract. And you'll be like, great. So happy for you. Okay. Which, I mean, you're happy for them obviously, but It's amazing how easy it is to fall out of top of mind. A, because it's easy to do, and B, because there's a lot of other agents that are working their database really hard to stay in top of mind for their people. It's competitive. It's highly competitive. So that when you get down to this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people of your 100 people who are maybe actually ready to go into business today to go under contract, you're in top of mind for that smaller section of people. But it gets cooler when you think big, because if that's ratio works on 100 people, the same ratio applies with 200 people, but now you have double the people to do business with. It is a game of numbers, and when you do it right, it's wildly successful for you. So here's the return on investment that is expected for a database that's treated and fed properly. So again, we're going back to the words predictable return on investment, predictable ROI. You are going to spend time on this database. Okay, you're going to spend a good amount of time, especially in the beginning, and then you will consistently spend time in your database as you move through your business. And every time that you are working in your business, it needs to be dollar producing. You need to have a return on it. Your time is valuable, and you need to learn how to be efficient and do it well. It's going to make you happier and more productive. It's going to feel good. That's what we want. All right. So the average return on investment, I've seen 12 to 1, which is perfect for this, but you can expect between a 10 to 1 and a 14 to 1 ratio for your database, meaning for every 10 to 14 people in your database, you can expect a piece of business. Or for every dollar that you invest in your database activities, expect at least 14. That's one way to say it. But I'm going back to the people and a little bit away from the money. And again, it's not because 1 in 10 people are going to buy and sell a house. It's the 1 in 10 people are either going to buy and sell a house, or they will mention you or refer you to their friend or family member who needs to buy or sell a house. I want to be really, really clear about that again. Your database needs to be your advocate as well. Side note, write this down. It's a really good practice to, when your database gets organized and you're ready to go, prioritize your top 20 people. Okay, this is way off. This is not in your notes, but I'm going to tell you this because this is something I learned with Gary Keller, and we do it in our team and it works. Prioritize your top 20 people, 25 people, 10 people, whatever you're most comfortable with, and you love on them extra. Meaning those are the people that get maybe flowers on their birthday, or in our team, those are the people that get a pop-by gift twice a year. Okay. Earlier this year, a pop-by gift was, we spent $20 on this cool, like, charging kit that works with any device you could ever dream of buying. And it was branded, and we dropped it and gave a note, said, thanks so much. I don't want you, to, I forget what our catchy title was, but we dropped it off at their house or their place of business. This was before COVID hit, by the way. And it was just an extra step of loving on them. I allocated a little more in the budget. $20 gift is a lot when you add it up. And then our next pop-by gift, I'll be totally transparent. We're getting ready to send them out here in the next month or so. And we got a variety of kind of board games. And we're kind of using the play on going into winter, fun at home. Maybe people are obviously still staying inside more. We don't have so much to do, but we want to keep it fun at home. And do a pop-by gift, or love on those people in a specific way that is of a process so you can follow it, and they feel extra special, because the purpose of that, I love loving on people, but also they become our hyper advocates. And they get on my list when they have definitely referred me business. I've got a good friend who, she just needs to get a real estate license and collect referrals. She gives our name out to everybody. She's so wonderful. She's a blessing. And I love her for it. I want to reward her for it. And again, when you do things for your people in your database, when you step back from what's in it for me, and you move into a place of, how can I love those people or continue to help them and be a service for them? It makes it fun. It makes it genuine. And it's a place that you want to be. So think about that. We call it top 20. whatever you want to call it, but prioritize a few people to be your hyper advocates. I encourage you to do that. That'll secure your return on investment for even better odds. I promise you that. All right, so there's three important considerations for a predictable ROI. Okay, now I'm checking my time here because we've got team meeting. All right, so number one is lowest lead cost. So the cheapest customer acquisition strategy, meaning how are you going to get people to come into your business, is to work with existing customers and people who know and like you. Okay, if every year at Family Reunion, which is our annual Keller Williams conference, it's fantastic. We do a state of the market that Gary Keller presents to everybody, and we always look at a slide. He seems to bring it up every year, and he says, "Who's doing business with you, and who did repeat business with you?" And even though we all work so hard, and we should, you know, some of us are on Zillow and we're pay per click and we're doing all the things and we're mailing and we're doing all these things to bring people in our database, which is important. Still, I think the stat is well over 90% of people who bought a house chose a realtor that they already knew and loved, okay? And who was in their top 20 at the moment. So guess what? That's also your lowest cost, because it doesn't cost anything to send someone a text or give them a call. And it's very low cost to mail them a note saying, "I'm thinking about you. Hey, I'm in the real estate business. I'd love to be of service to you. I'd take really good care of you in your transaction." And so many people getting into real estate, you've got to lead with revenue. I don't want you to spend anything until you've made it. Don't dig a hole. Don't start in one. This is a business that I encourage you need to work within your scale, okay? Because when you use the money that you make, when you make $6,000 on your first commission, which is an average commission for our market, I want you to set the appropriate amount aside for taxes. And then I want you to set about 30% of that aside to go back and build your business. Okay, to build your database, to communicate with your database, to build a plan around communicating with your database. That sounds like a lot, you guys, but when you do that, your business will grow quick, okay? And your lowest cost will still be the people that you're loving on and taking care of. And when you can have that revenue and ability to take care of those people or do those pop buys, it will just grow your snowball. You want the lowest conversion cost too. So when it's properly built, what that converting means taking from just hello friendship to closing them. And closing them can be your decision on your definition, whether it's getting them under contract or literally closing and collecting a check. Doesn't matter, just track consistently. But when that's properly built and maintained, that database is going to end up producing leads in the form of repeat clients and referrals. And it will also have the lowest conversion cost. What that means, it's the best way, one of the best ways also to grow your business is be really, really good at the transaction that you're working. Be nice, be professional, be solution oriented, be graceful, be okay with saying, "I don't know, but I'll find out" quickly. Do what you said you were going to do. For you to be a great agent in the transaction and the client that you're working with, because that first client's scary. Trust me, it is scary. It shouldn't be, but it is. It is. I was terrified in my first transaction. I don't know what I was doing. But when you just show up and you do what you say you're going to do, as simple as it sounds, and you pick up your phone and you respond to your email quickly in a professional manner, you speak professionally, you dress professionally, you act professionally, they're going to refer you. How great is that? They'll call you up. You'll get a call 2 months down the road. "Hey, I got your telephone number from Sally. Yeah, you just closed on her house over there in Sunshine Avenue. She said you did a really great job, and she said I need to call you." Here's what you do with that. You say, "Wow, thank you. She was a pleasure to work with." And you take that conversation, and the second that conversation's over, your very next breath, I don't care if you have to pull over on the side of the road to do it safely if you're driving, you call Sally who referred you and you say, "Sally, My business, the heartbeat of my business grows tremendously when people refer me. I cannot tell you how grateful I am for that. This means more than you could know. I am so appreciative that you thought of me. Thank you so much. Give them a call, say thank you, and then follow up with a thank you note. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And you've built advocates, you know, have repeat and referral business. And that feels good. Everybody loves to feel good. You like to know that you did a good job. There's nothing wrong with that. I hope that you want to feel that way. And man, does it feel good when every 5 or 7 years, when people buy and sell property, the house that you sold that person 5 years ago, they need for you to list it and sell it again. Well, that's really fun too, by the way. So that's a very low conversion cost. And when you keep those people in your database and you know that because you've tracked their anniversary year, you know that they're coming up on the 5th year or the 7th year and they might be getting that itch. You know that it's coming, or you've planned for it, or better yet, you nudged them along. Okay? Just have fun with it. You got to let your head open up and think about how people work and think. And then ultimately it's going to pay for yourself. You'll find as you get in this real estate business, you need to invest back in the business. I talked about that 30%. It feels like a really big number at first, but it's necessary, because if you're profiting about 40% of your business, most people say 40%, that's not enough. No, when you work on bigger numbers, 40% of 2 transactions feels scarce, but 40% of 20 transactions is a really big life. And that's kind of just the start of it. But you've got to be able to have a database that starts to fund and pay for itself and be worth the money that you're putting in.
Hey, Elissa, can I ask you a question? This is Greg.
Yes, Greg. Yes.
Um, as far as if someone lists property on social media, say Facebook, Twitter, whatever it may be, if it's an agent listing the house, a Keller Williams agent, are we allowed to share that information, not only for us to obtain a buyer, but for them to get more eyes on that listing, and possibly someone that might be looking for a 4-bedroom instead of a 3-bedroom that is in the listing, for us to help like obtain maybe a potential buyer for another home? Is that allowed in that company?
Yes. And here's the gold standard for practice on that. First and foremost, when you share anything on social media, our commission rules, our real estate commissioner requires that we state the name of our brokerage. So it has to say Keller Williams Louisville East on your post. Now, in order to, to share it, or in order to advertise someone else's listing, you always can do it, but the best form is to call that listing agent and say, your listing is beautiful and I would love to share it on my social media page. Do you mind if I advertise your listing? And of course, I'll say listing credit to you and your broker. You need to credit them for sure, especially if it's not otherwise obvious. They can't be required to have to link on it or click on it to see who the true listing agent is. The only time we get into trouble with that is when we've made it look like it's our listing.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that clear?
Yeah, I was thinking about that because you're talking, database, lead generation, low cost. I mean, I feel like that's a low cost way to. I mean, it's nothing for you to share something. I just wanted to know what the parameters were with sharing this product.
And I'll tell you, I can speak for Louisville East. I can speak for us. If you ask any one of us here in the brokerage if you could share our listings, we're gonna be like, please do, because my personal opinion, I'd be silly to say no. I mean, it takes all kinds, but start with that. That's a good point that you make too, especially within the brokerage. Start with the listings within the brokerage. Also, when you're looking to hold an open house, if you don't have a listing of your own, call other agents within the brokerage. There's 2 on the call that have held open houses for our team recently, because we love to help you guys. We love to help agents out who are looking for business. We love to have our open houses held. If we're busy, it's such a win-win for both. But yes, any more questions about that? Was I pretty clear on that?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, good deal. All righty. So In terms of prospecting to marketing, what prospecting is that lead generation. It's the two-way conversation, and the marketing is the brand awareness, the repeat touches. So it goes up the scale as you would expect for, a phone call that's a two-way conversation that results in, yeah, I do need to buy or sell, or yes, I would love to sell in the strong market. That's going to be an immediate result. And that's going to be quick. And at the bottom, that's the meaty part of your return that you like, right? It's proactive. That's, in real estate, guess what? Your phone, you don't just sit around and wait for your phone to ring. And I still have friends that just think I sit around and pick up the phone for people who want to list, which, I love them for it, but man, that's not the reality of it at all. I don't say that to be negative. I'm just a realist. It's not the way the business works. And it takes time. You've got to time block it. You've got to be purposeful with it. Lead generation is the most important part of your business. So I challenge you to do it the very first thing before you answer that first email in the morning, because once your day gets going, especially if you're working a contract or a couple buyers or something, it'll get away and it won't get done. I promise you that. Start with it. It's the most important foundation of your pyramid. When you're doing that marketing and you're doing a multiple touch program, we're going to get into that here before too long. It's a seed. You plant the seed. Okay. There are seeds that I've planted that have taken years for people to show up and turn. I mean, there's still clients that I was talking to in my, second year of business that just recently finally bought, but it's a constant drip campaigning. It's passive. It does cost more money. It's an important investment to make in your business. Command helps decrease that dollar amount substantially, by the way, but it takes an investment and it takes purpose. Oh, here's some more example tags. If you guys want to take a screenshot of this real quick, if you need some ideas to tag in your command. Vendors, again, are your title companies, your lenders, your home inspectors, all the way to your painters, contractors, service providers, your mold guy. You're going to be selling property in Kentucky, and if you haven't run into mold, you will. Another story for another day. Tagging investors, tagging property type. Here's a good one. Write this one down. If they live in a ranch house, tag ranch, because when you have a buyer that needs a ranch, they need a ranch. If they have a finished basement, make a tag for finished basement. If they have a tag for 1+ acre lot, make that tag. As you start to talk with more buyers about like their needs and wants list, those trigger words will come up. Outbuilding, needs a shop or whatever you want to call it. But just take some time in the next few days to write out tags. When you're talking to people and they say, yeah, these are the things I need in a house. Those turn out to be really good tags, because then you can use that database and work backwards. And then you also want to always tag these people with regards to how they're in business with you right now. And that goes back to the time you have to spend on the database, because that's always moving. So my past client might become an active client. My active client might become a past client. And my referral person hopefully always stays a referral, but then they might also be an active client. So that's why you've got to always be updating where they are in your life, so that when you have a resource that you can provide somebody, well, you can use the tag system. So it's a lot of work up front, but it automates you and makes your life easier on the other side of it. This is just a quick demo. This is I'm going to use the screen here. This is command, and this is what it looks like to tag. The point that this is making is that you get to name the tag, but if you're super detail oriented and you love stuff like this, you're going to get all the way into the cool color. So for example, I think we've got all of our zip codes on one color. Just my eyes go to it. If they're in a certain school system or in a certain county, I might color that a different way. But again, your creativity is absolutely your limitation. Okay, here's what we're going to probably kind of round down with. And this is really important. So take a big deep breath and stay with me, because I know it's been now a little bit of time, but this is really, really important. Take a screenshot of this with your phone or take notes. This is the recommended touch campaign. So this getting in front of people is it's not always real easy. Okay. I'm going to be really, really honest. Everybody doesn't pick up their phone the first time. Everybody doesn't respond to my text, and not everybody just goes nuts over a Facebook post the first time. Okay. But when you keep pinging them, you keep touching them in an appropriate level. I'm not here to, we're not harassing people. We're not being obnoxious. We're being meaningful. We're respecting do not call lists. We're staying within the bounds. I'm a rule follower to the T. I would never suggest that you stray from that. But what I mean is I want you to hear the word and the feeling of consistency. Okay. When you're consistent with these people. So we're going to start on the left side, leads. People who you have the right to at least have a one-way conversation with is a lead. That's a one-way conversation. A website lead is the best example. They clicked on your listing, they clicked on a listing, and you shot back out to them, hey, how can I be a resource to you? You'll be more creative than that, but that's what you'll say back. So they technically, it's showing that they need about 19 touches to actually get connected. That's a high number. I think most people would probably predict a little bit less. But again, I'm a realist and I want to show you what the reality is, because it's not easy, but it's simple. So 4 touches, you want those people in a 4, we recommend, you can make this your own, but this is a great, great guide. You want to put them on this campaign that involves 4 quarterly phone calls. Command will let you set these up. And that's a different, this is the instruction, the how to do this and how to implement it is definitely available within the Market Center. It's just a different conversation than where we're going to be today. But I just want you to know that you need to talk with them, reach out to them, call them once a quarter, 4 times a year. Once a month for 12 more touches, we recommend either, not all the above, but either or combination of a monthly email, a newsletter, a market report, or a video. And I'm going to show you something. Y'all give me just a second. I'm going to share something with you if I can get to it really quick. I'm going to share, if I can do it. I meant to have this pulled up. Shocking. I didn't get to it. What I'm going to show you, what I'm going to get to is what I do is a market report from time to time. Video is powerful. It's a powerful touch. We're seeing over and over again that people are responding more and more to video. It's just a powerful way to get a message out. And what I did, it doesn't require a listing. It doesn't require any expertise. All it requires is for you to be able to go on the MLS and pull some numbers, and I can teach you that if you ever need it. Hang on. I'm scrolling my website. Hang on just a second, or scrolling my Facebook page rather. Because this is powerful. This will make you a micro market agent. What we do is we take a neighborhood, okay? And we pull stats. Here's one. We pull a neighborhood, and you can search by neighborhood in the MLS, and we pull stats like number of properties closed, highest closed sale, average days on market, average size, everything that is at your all's reach and pretty easy to find. Ask somebody if you don't know. I'll help you if you don't know, as long as you have access to the MLS, which you will. Some of you all who haven't quite affiliated yet don't just yet. My point, though, is that it does not take any level of expertise to do this. Can you guys see my Facebook post? Let me see. Whoop. If you don't see it, someone chime in, please.
Looks good.
Oh, okay. Oh, come on. Well, I don't hear my volume. Side of Prospect, and it has a house with a very nice pool, walkable to the local. Okay, here we go. Hey everyone, it's Elissa Withrow with the Withrow Group at Keller Williams Louisville East, and today we're talking about the neighborhood of Hillcrest. It's located on the Oldham County side of Prospect, and it has a fabulous clubhouse with a very nice pool. It's walkable to the local public elementary school, and it's districted for the North Oldham schools. Now let's talk about the market activity.
We've taken a look at the housing market in Hillcrest specifically over the past 12 months. And here's some averages that might mean something to you. The average days spent on market, meaning the average amount of time that it takes a seller to secure a buyer, is 59 days. Now, the highest price home that's currently under contract is $805,000. The sold to list price ratio is 99%. And that means that on average, sellers are getting 99% of their last listed price. The average size for above grade square footage is 3,456 square feet. The average sales price of the closed homes over the past 12 months is $582,032. The lowest closed sale was $445,000, and the highest closed sale over the past year is $775,000. Now pause on that for a minute. The highest closed sale is $775,000, and there's one currently under contract with the last listed price of $805,000. That's an indicator that the market is strengthening and moving in the right direction. The change year over year in the average closed price of homes in Hillcrest is 3.5%. That translates to more equity for you if you live in the neighborhood. If you have questions about your home or the neighborhood of Hillcrest, give us a call today. We can be found at 502-554-9449. Thanks so much.
Okay. So the point of that, let me close that out. The point of that is that that required no sale, no listing, virtually no expertise. I literally spent a few minutes pulling down some numbers off the MLS. And again, that's really easy to do. And that way you're being a local market specialist. I don't have a listing in Hillcrest right now. I haven't sold a house in Hillcrest in more than a year. But when I show up and I provide data, but then I apply what's meaningful about that data and how it can help somebody, then that's a meaningful touch when we're going back to those the 12 touch campaign. Well, wouldn't that be great for someone to get in their, if you put that on your your business page, your Facebook business page, or you were able to email a video out to your sphere working on your database. I mean, that's huge. That's meaningful information. And yes, I know that most of your database probably doesn't live in the neighborhood that you're talking about, but you're going to make it really, really apparent that if they want information about their neighborhood, or more importantly, their house, to call you. You're not calling, you didn't make that post to sell a house in Hillcrest. You made that post to demonstrate that you understand the market and you're a good resource for people who need to understand theirs. That's the point.
I have a question.
Yes.
This is Lucy. Is it okay if we replicate and duplicate that beautiful, beautiful video?
Please do. I did not make that up. I did not make that up. You guys can go to my Facebook page, the Withrow group. It's a pretty good scroll down. We've had a lot of content on top of that. Take whatever you want. It's not my idea. Someone else taught me that. Please do. Yes.
It makes you look like the economist of choice. What is it that Gary Keller says? The local economist of choice. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Please do. And
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And then you want to add to that 2 touches, which is maybe a direct mailer or a magnet, mail a market report. If you don't want to or are not in a position to afford postage, that's fair. That's very, very, it can be very expensive, especially in the beginning. Just stuff paper boxes. I've done it before. There are ways around it when you're willing to hit the ground running in the beginning. There are ways to do it. And then another great annual touch is just to do an annual event. For example, I'll share this. I don't keep anything a secret. On Friday night, we're doing a drive-in at the Sirebeck Family Drive-In. And it's actually COVID friendly by the grace of God that we can still do that. People have fun. We have fun. It's meaningful. It feels good. I mean, it's fun and it grows your business. It just does. And when we move over to the contacts on the right side, when they become a contact, they're connected by permission or because you know them, and they're interactive and they're value-based. And this is where you want to get your database to meaningful contacts. So first they're leads, and then you got to get them. They get the right to be in your database. They get the right to be a contact. They earned it. It's cool. At that point, you need to be touching them 36 times. And this is per year. I'm sorry if I didn't say that before, per year. So that's the quarterly call. 26 touches is an email system, and that's how Command is going to work for you. There's already systems in place that you basically set them up and it's fully automated. It's branded to you, looks and has more of an authentic feel. Those are really important. Going to the 2 touches events, a get together or a party. Some agents blow it out of the water. If you can't or won't or don't want to do a big event at the time, give away pies. Have people come to you. In other words, what is it? Pie day, make it fun, make a fun tagline for it. But it's so creative. If you all could just start Googling ideas for that, it is amazing what real estate agents have come up with to love on their community, and have fun and it be meaningful. A community yard sale. I mean, that's another conversation. I don't need to teach the whole business today. And then 4 more touches. So 4 plus 26 plus 2 plus 4 equals 36 to convert. All right. Tending your database, obviously, we're going to keep taking care of it. You want to build the culture around all your testimonials and reviews. Ask for reviews, guys. We are in a business right now that people, younger and younger, the older I get, the more separated I feel from all the younger, usually the first-time home buyers. They rely on reviews and testimonials to make their choice. That is their culture of doing business. And I don't care if I have to like it or not, but man, I had to figure out how to get some Google reviews, and I had to work really hard to ask people for reviews. So when people do business with you in your database, make it part of your drip campaign to ask for the review, ask for the feedback. All righty. And I just flew over it, but keep feeding your database. If you learn nothing else from today, just keep adding to it, keep making it better, keep it accurate, make it a process in your business. Just love on your database. All right, what kind of questions do you have? Because we are about done.
I have a question. It's
Yes.
Bobby.
Hey, Bobby.
Yes. So, I mean, I as I said, I don't have my license yet, but I'm going to go ahead and get started as of today. I'm going to definitely start on my contacts, getting my lead list started. Okay. So, one of the ways I thought about is I do have a lot of people from when I used to live here that are friends. I wanted to reach out to them, but then I really want to get leads from them too, of people they know as well, to kind of exponentially grow that. So I guess my question to you is, where do they fit as far as lead in contact, and what makes that once that say my mom gives me a lead of one of her best friends, and I contact them, how does that kind of process work of the lead over to the bigger part?
Yes, and to answer that first, and help me if I don't answer this correctly, but just because they're a contact in your database does not mean these are only the people who are buying and selling. My parents are in my database, and they tell me every day they're going to die in their house. They say, we're not moving. And so as gross and morbid as that terrible sounds, but the truth is that I don't expect them to buy or sell real estate, but they're still in my database and they're still a contact, and they got invited to our event this weekend, and they get all of our mailers, and they get a pop by because I hope my mom's going to talk good about me. I mean, my mother, if you all don't know, my sister also has a wonderful team within the brokerage. They're the Price Group. They are fantastic. And my mom, she was so distraught because she was like, how are you both going to be in the business? And I said, Mom, there's plenty of real estate. We're just fine. So she at least can be an advocate for both of us. I think they try and balance it. Point is, your mama, who may never buy or sell a property because she's never going to leave her house, she says, still a contact. And you still love them in the same way, because your mama or that person who holds that level in your life is going to be your business advocate at the end.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
No problem. No problem. What other questions do you guys have, or ahas?
We've got some chat. Oh, let me exit off the other one. You're getting some love. Bobby is too, and Lucy.
Oh, good. I'm reading now. I took the screen up. Good deal.
And I apologize if I missed this part, but can you hear me okay?
I can, yes.
Okay. The smart plans that you were mentioning, that monthly neighborhood nurture is one that everyone should be on. That's that monthly touch. You're giving value to people because every month, based on the address that you have in their contact card, it's sending them the neighborhood statistics. So that goes to your mom, who's never going to move because she still loves to get that info. But everybody in your database should be on that for sure.
All of the newer agents here, or the agents who are coming over newer to Keller Williams right now or returning to, you guys have such an advantage where you are in your space within the brokerage right now. And I'm going to tell you why. Because Command, the exponential growth and trajectory of Command is flying upwards in all the right directions, and the wind is in the sails in more ways you can know. You guys, for many of you, it's all you know. And it's going to seem normal and commonplace. And the rest of the brokerage is adopting it and learning to love it. But it is change for those people, and that's fine. And we're all going to go through that. But love the fact that when you're talking to some of us who are more in the change realm and not just in the learn realm, that I'm still learning a lot of that as my everyday speak. So Amy, thank you for bringing up Neighborhood Nurturers, because it is fantastic. Command is amazing. Lean into that, and you will, because that's all you know, which is wonderful. Don't look back.
Absolutely. And we have tons of training on that. Of course, you all get my emails and everything, but I'm also here to do a one-on-one with you. I am so passionate about this with my background in real estate as a realtor as well. I'm just like, man, I wish I would have had this when I was on the sales side. So please reach out to me and I'll show you how.
Yes. What other questions do you guys have? I know we'll be transitioning over here to the team meeting before too long. I want to make sure I get to any other questions.
I had something to say. I was in a marketing summit that Amy recommended us a couple of weeks ago, when in one of the interventions, I saw that they were talking about data input and follow up and showing the numbers, and like 4 different systems you pay for. And I'm like, and we have Command for free. Like we have, and we don't have to pay for all of this, like follow up us and I don't know, 4 different expensive systems. And I thought it was pretty surprising that we have a very efficient system that we have for free. And as far as AHAs, in order to be extraordinary, do ordinary things at a consistent level. I loved it.
Yes, that's one of my favorite mantras. And I want to repeat I want to caveat that, you guys. The other, there's a blessing and a curse or everything. I would never call this a curse ever in a million years. However, I've only been at Keller Williams. Okay. So that's all wonderful. I made the right choice and I'm so happy, and I would not look back. But what I don't know is what I don't know if it were different. And so the same is true for Command. What you guys have at your fingertips for Command is truly special. What you might not realize is that other agents pay for the same functionalities, is particular to database and beyond. Those same functionalities, teams pay for it. When I say teams pay for these types of leads and this type of database interaction, this type of CRM is a database that you communicate with, they pay by the thousands, like lots of zeros. And I'm not exaggerating because I've been one of them. Okay. What Command is so special. It's a blessing and a curse that you're not going to know what you don't know, as opposed to Command. So I don't want to be a commercial for Command, but necessarily I want you to understand the why, because again, people buy into and lean into opportunities when they understand why it's so valuable and why it's so important. It's just going to make you a better agent and have an easier time just loving on your people and being in relationship, which is what we do. So, okay. Well, I think we're going to wrap this up so we can transition over to meeting. I want you guys, again, I'll put my number one more time in the chat. So I want you to save it to your phone right now, because if you don't need me now, I hope that you'll need me at some point. Call, say, hey, tell me how you're doing, bring challenges. I'll share anything that you guys need, anything I can do to help. If I don't know the answer, I'll get you in front of somebody who does. Okay. Thank you guys. Have a great day. I look forward to seeing all your faces in person here sooner than later. We'll see you later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.